The King's Avatar, Chapter 1294 Thought Process of Target, Audio Source, WurshaWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1294, Thought Process of Target. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. The audience members looked at one another. As Lu Boyuan had thought, it was precisely because he was too skilled that he was hit by the powerful knee strike. If it were a normal player, then they would have already used a fling to throw Steamed Bun Invasion to the ground. The viewers definitely comprised of normal players, so they didn't understand why Chaotic Cloudy Mountains had ducked down low before straightening up with his arms in air like he was surrendering. As Lu Boyuan cursed, wondering what the hell Steamed Bun was trying to do, the viewers, who had no idea what was actually going on, were trying to figure out what the hell Lu Boyuan was trying to do. Right now, Lu Boyuan, someone who usually didn't speak much during matches, was yelling in the channel. Words like, "Are you fucking crazy?" and the such could probably count as personal attacks, if pressed. Lu Boyuan had completely lost it. It wasn't just the audience who thought so. Even the live commentator Pan Lin was commenting on this. Lu Boyuan's current state was just too far from his usual self. Calm down. Quote, no one would have expected that, on stage, Lu Boyuan's opponent Steamed Bun would send a message admonishing him. Panicking like that isn't proper. Quote, another followed. Where had Steamed Bun learned all this from? Fuck. Lu Boyuan exclaimed. Why the hell was this guy suddenly scolding him? They were opponents, okay? What the hell does my panic have anything to do with you? And plus, I'm not panicking. As Steamed Bun scolded the other, his actions didn't stop. With his brick a miss, he did a sand toss. Lu Boyuan wasn't in the calmest of states right now, but he wasn't panicking either. Chaotic Cloudy Mountains dodged perfectly. After sand toss, Steamed Bun Invasion continued to close, but Lu Boyuan's Chaotic Cloudy Mountain wasn't a ranged class, so there was nothing he wanted more than for his opponent to be close. As Steamed Bun Invasion closed in, he naturally wouldn't retreat and just observe the other's motions. Lu Boyuan decided to forego taking the initiative and return to the usual style of grapplers, waiting for his opponent to make the first move and countering. He'd see what tricks this guy had up his sleeves. Thus, Steamed Bun Invasion arrived in front of Chaotic Cloudy Mountains as the latter slowed down his pace on purpose. Brick. Lu Boyuan was close to tears. Was this really the legendary use immediately after cooldown style? To be honest, if you really wanted to calculate this kind of pacing, it would be very troublesome. Although Brick wasn't a low-level skill, it wasn't very high either. It was a skill brawlers learned very soon after advancing classes and had a short cooldown. Considering the frequency at which Steamed Bun used the skill, calculating the cooldown of this skill would be very distracting. This was probably the real motive behind his frequent usage. A skill like Brick didn't deal much damage, but because of its crowd control, you had to be wary of it. Steamed Bun, using this skill so frequently and making it so that his opponents had to stay on guard against it was very distracting for his opponents. In addition, this guy often used his skills in a chaotic mess, suddenly throwing in some troublesome skill. It really was quite hard to guard against. Lu Boyuan felt like he had discovered something. He felt like he was close to figuring out his opponent's thought process. However, this seemingly random and completely mindless use of brick throw wouldn't just distract the opponent, it would also disrupt your own rhythm. After all, skill usage need to be paced. Sometimes a different skill would evidently work better in this scenario, but Steamed Bun just always chose brick. Wasn't that a little wasteful? Lu Boyuan, who had thought he was beginning to understand, realized that his logic didn't work out after considering it a little more. Lu Boyuan's thoughts, very unfortunately, went down an erroneous path. He had started trying to figure out Steamed Bun's thought process and rationalizing the other's actions from a theoretical perspective. And this was something that even Yi Zhu, who had far more experience and time with Steamed Bun, had failed to accomplish in 2 years. As for why steamed bun like bricks, that was something Yi Zhu could explain to Lu Boyuan. It was because bricks were easy to come by and unsuspecting. After you used them, you could just toss them aside to get rid of the weapon. Trying to use glory theories to figure out this problem would only get further and further away from the truth of the matter. Lu Boyuan was thinking himself into a mess. It was true that counter-attacking was a grappler's primary style. However, this style required you to have a precise understanding of your opponent's style, a decisive judgment, quick eyes, and steady hands. Yet right now, the one Lu Boyuan was trying to figure out was Steamed Bun. Steamed Bun's the mystery that even Yi Zhu had failed to figure out after 2 years. And so he lost. He lost without knowing how he lost, in a complete mess. It was only when chaotic cloudy mountains fell that Lu Boyuan woke up from his stupor of trying to figure out Steamed Bun. He lost just like that. Lu Boyuan was shocked. He had been under this strange impression that there was plenty of time, and he had plenty of health. Trying to figure out Steamed Bun was like losing yourself in an abyss. After leaving the booth, Lu Boyuan was still scratching his head. As he walked back to the bench, he kept looking up at the playback on the big screen. It wasn't until he was back at the bench that he smacked himself on the forehead. Fuck, I'm so dumb. When he had gone up there, it was with the decision to take the initiative more and not give this weird player any chances to play tricks. Why did he end up trying to figure out his opponent as he fought? My willpower wasn't strong enough. Lu Boyuan bemoaned. I don't know why, but there was a moment where I thought to myself, I can't play like this, I have to figure him out, Lu Boyuan explained. And somehow as you were trying to figure him out, you lost, right? Wu Qi said. Yeah, Lu Boyuan nodded. It's 3-0 now, hey. Jiang Botao reminded everyone. Right now they really were falling behind. Happy's fans were screaming and cheering, gelling thunderously about a flawless victory. As for Samsara's accompanying fan club, they were much more subdued. They had actually lost every round in the individual competition. That really was a hit to their morale. Hey, did you guys actually fight seriously? Du Ming asked the 3 individual competition players. The 3 looked at one another. It's competition, there'll always be losses every now and then. Cleric player Fang Minghua comforted everyone. We'll take back 2 points in the group arena. Sun Xiang stood. Wuxia He was the first player for the group arena. Good luck. His teammates encouraged. 1 versus 3. Someone said, no, don't, I wanna go up. I want to fight that sister in Happy. Du Ming hurriedly disagreed. You want to take revenge? Everyone mocked him. They all naturally remembered how Du Ming had fought Tang Rou at the All-Stars weekend. Back then, Tang Rou hadn't even been a pro player, just a noob, but her ferocious and relentless attitude left a deep impression. It was also then that Du Ming had lost face, getting humiliated by Tang Rou before being annihilated by Yi Zhu. He had been depressed for quite some time after that. I remember Yi Zhu also fought you back then, how come you don't go looking for him for revenge? Quote, a teammate immediately asked, what revenge? I just want to spar, Du Ming said. Is it because she's pretty? Wu Qi grinned, an arm around his shoulders. I mean, she really is quite pretty. Fuck off. Du Ming pushed him away. After falling behind 0-3, the atmosphere around Samsara was still as natural as ever. No one jumped up yelling something like, "We have to win the next round," or anything. However, none of them lacked this determination. In the live broadcast, Pan Lin was analyzing the lineups the two teams might possibly have set, while Li Yibo felt like he was just waking from a dream. He was shocked to realize that he hadn't made a single comment throughout the past 3 matches. Pan Lin had thrown the discussion to him a couple of times, but he had gotten by with just a few non-committal noises. He had been ever so careful like that and ended up not giving any analysis whatsoever. He had to make his presence more evident. Li Yibo, suddenly awake from his stupor, listened to Pan Lin's analysis, and hurriedly found a place to interrupt. "Yes," Li Yibo continued Pan Lin's train of thought. Samsara's group arena lineup has been constant, with Sun Xiang first and Zhou Zekai as the last line of defense, with a few players on rotation in the middle. As for Happy, starting with Fang Rui and ending with Tang Rou is also a relatively consistent lineup. From the lineups, Samsara seems to have a slight advantage. And the advantage is in the group arena stack. I'm wondering if Happy will make adjustments to counter Samsara's lineup. In Happy's lineup, Happy's player is coming on stage. Quote, "That was when Pan Lin suddenly announced, 'Ah, yes, it's Fang Rui.'" Li Yibo felt rather helpless when he said the name. He had only just wondered aloud if Happy would make any adjustments or not, and then Happy had decided to use their usual lineup. Li Yibo felt depressed. He didn't dare finish his thought on Happy. He had been prepared to talk about this possibility and then emphasized the possibility of Happy's lineup remaining unchanged. But he hadn't even gotten halfway there when Happy's player entered the field. There was a small break between the individual competition and the group arena. "Could you not be so eager to fight? Do you all have something against me?" Li Yibo was going to cry. Yes, Happy's Fang Rui seems to have decided to get into the player booth early. Let's see. As for Samsara, Samsara's player has decided to get onto the field, too. It's Sun Xiang. Seems like neither team has any intention of deviating from their usual arrangements, Pan Lin noted. In this match, from the individual competent to the group arena now, it seems like neither team has decided to make any special arrangements to counter the other. They're treating the match as a normal match and haven't made special preparations in accordance to their opponent's identity, Li Yibo could only say. But Samsara is already behind by 3 points. They won't have a good time in the following games. Will they really be beaten 10-0, like the audience is cheering for? Then Happy really would have taken their revenge. Pan Lin wondered if this was like before. The idea of Happy winning a flawless victory against Samsara would probably make most people laugh their heads off. But now even the live broadcast was discussing this possibility in a serious fashion. The rise of Happy's position and power in people's minds was truly something terrifying to behold. We'll have to see how Samsara performs. Li Yibo didn't think Happy could do it. However, he didn't dare make any predictions. This was Happy, and even when he was being extremely cautious, they still managed to slap him in the face. It was better if he didn't make too many predictions like that. Both players have entered their booths, but it seems that the referee is going to wait for the break to finish. Coach Li, could you give us your view on this match between Fang Rui and Sun Xiang? Pan Lin asked. My view or ass. I don't want to do these pre-match predictions. Li Yibo cursed internally. End chapter. The King's Avatar. Chapter 1295. The Patient Sun Xiang. Audio source. WuxaWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1295. The Patient Sun Xiang. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Despite being pushed beyond his ability, Li Yibo still had to say a few words. He didn't dare ascertain which side had the advantage though, so he just introduced the traits of each player. Meanwhile, Pan Lin was feeling down. He could do an introduction. The purpose of the guest commentator was to provide a deeper level of analysis. He could understand where Li Yibo was coming from though, so he didn't pursue it. The two chatted for the break period, and then the group arena officially began. Happy, Fang Rui, Boundless Sea, Samsara, Sun Xiang, One Autumn Leaf. As for the map, since Fang Rui played dirty, he naturally wouldn't be like Yi Zhu and pick the wide-open field. This particular group arena map had numerous holes and ditches. As soon as Boundless Sea loaded into the map, he immediately hid in one of the holes and vanished. This trench-filled map had many intersecting ditches. Players who wanted to move stealthily would have an easier time. Boundless Sea leaped down into a trench and skillfully maneuvered around without needing to look up to figure out his position. Shortly afterwards, Boundless Sea made it to the center of the map and then headed towards a narrow ditch on the side. He quietly peeked his head above the ground, but was blocked by a stone tablet. He carefully exposed half of his head and then looked outwards. Fang Rui's familiarity with this map didn't need to be said, but unfortunately, Boundless Sea couldn't find anything in his field of view. To his surprise, One Autumn Leaf was not at the center of the map. Fang Rui was astonished and checked who his opponent was again subconsciously. Correct, it was One Autumn Leaf, and the player was Sun Xiang, not Yi Zhu, who had been as dirty as him in the past. Sun Xiang. He didn't charge to the center of the stage. Sun Xiang also moved strategically. This was truly outside of Fang Rui's expectations. From his understanding, like Tang Hao and Zhao Yuzhe, Sun Xiang looked down on this sort of playing. These new generation players preferred to happily battle it out at the center. Sun Xiang maintained this same style this season with Samsara, but he suddenly switched it up this match. Was this because his opponent was the dirty Fang Rui? Making changes because of the opponent? No one had thought Sun Xiang had it in him, but it was happening right in front of their eyes. Fang Rui scratched his head. He suddenly realized that he had no idea what to do next. What would a strategically moving Sun Xiang do? He couldn't understand at all because that punk had never played that way before. Fang Rui didn't know whether to be happy or sad that his opponent was giving him special treatment. His current ambush position should still be good. Fang Rui carefully sized up his surroundings. If he were facing a different opponent, he could try to predict what his opponent would do next through the terrain, but against Sun Xiang, how could he make a prediction for someone who he had originally thought didn't know a thing about moving strategically? Was he patiently waiting, or was he putting himself forward as bait? Fang Rui pondered. In the meantime, he started trash-talking Sun Xiang. Hey, where are you? You've been ruined by Samsara. You were never like this before. Fang Rui acted like he was friends with Sun Xiang. In reality, the two had never interacted with each other before. The chat was silent. Sun Xiang didn't respond. It's a match after all. Play how you like to play. Don't concern yourself over who your opponent is. Maybe my dirtiness is giving you a lot of pressure, but using a style you're not familiar with might not get the results you're expecting. Fang Rui didn't mind the opponent not replying back as he continued to chatter. As he talked, his Boundless Sea wasn't just standing there quietly. He was moving cautiously through the trenches, investigating the area around him. Where was One Autumn Leaf? The viewers obviously knew the answer. Sun Xiang's opening move had caught everyone off guard. He had done the same as Fang Rui. One Autumn Leaf had also moved stealthily through the trenches. Sun Xiang's choices today are quite surprising. Pan Lin had been talking about it earlier. Yes, this isn't his usual style, said Li Yibo. It looks like he has some misgivings over Fang Rui's dirtiness. Pan Lin said. Yes. Fang Rui's Chi Master is similar to Ye Shu's unspecialized in some sense. The opponent isn't familiar with this new playstyle or class. Most of his experience with Chi Masters isn't useful because Fang Rui's playstyle is entirely different from other people's, Li Yibo said. But do you think Sun Xiang might be overcompensating by changing his own playstyle? Pan Lin said. Let's take a look at their performances first. I believe Sun Xiang should have come prepared. Fang Rui is most likely surprised by Sun Xiang's actions. Li Yibo didn't provide a detailed analysis, instead giving a simple prediction. Sure enough, Fang Rui was surprised by Sun Xiang's actions. Seeing the constant stream of trash talk, Li Yibo felt incredibly happy. He had made a correct prediction, even if it wasn't anything admirable. Sun Xiang is really keeping his composure today, Pan Lin said. From their omniscient view, they could clearly see that Sun Xiang's one autumn leaf had reached the center of the map too. However, he wasn't as active as Fang Rui. He picked a spot and then quietly stood there. Sun Xiang, this player. Li Yibo wanted to say something, but he stopped himself. He was like a player who had been beaten again and again. His confidence had been slapped into nothingness. It's a very short section of the trench. The turns on both ends are within reach of a battle mage. Pan Lin introduced the features of this position. Yes. Li Yibo was itching to say something, but the other voice in him was telling him to calm down. Sun Xiang was waiting patiently, while Fang Rui searched for his opponent. Boundlessly maneuvered through the trenches while occasionally peeking his head up to check his surroundings above the ground. The trash talk in the public chat hadn't stopped yet, but none of his messages received a response. Finally, Boundless Sea approached One Autumn Leaf's hiding spot. Boundless Sea was practically crawling as he moved silently. Not a single sound could be heard. Everyone's heart leapt to their throats. As soon as he turned and showed his head, One Autumn Leaf's evil annihilation would immediately pierce him. WushOurWorldAudio.com. But when he was 2 steps away, Boundless Sea's movements suddenly stopped. He leaned close to the side of the ditch as if trying to hear something. The only thing separating the two characters was a corner. If you drew a straight line between them, it would only measure 3/4 of a unit. Neither side moved. Neither side uttered a peep. Only Fang Rui's chattering could be seen in the public chat. Fang Rui wasn't really talking anymore. After saying a few key points at the start, he didn't have anything else to say. He had even started resorting to something as unrefined as copying and pasting his own words. The two stopped at this bend, nervous and anxious. The crowd didn't know whether the two players had noticed each other. The tension made it hard for them to breathe. The first to move was Fang Rui. He carefully peeked his head up just the tiniest bit. After looking around above the ground, Boundless Sea retreated a bit. His two hands swiped against each other and a chi blade formed an arc, flying around the corner. He listened carefully to any noise. He heard it, and saw it. The instant the chi blade turned the corner, One Autumn Leaf stepped into view. Sun Xiang had been waiting patiently until now. His opponent was finally this close to him. He didn't hesitate or make any feints. His One Autumn Leaf rushed out. In the end, he chose a direct confrontation. More importantly, because of the terrain, Fang Rui's only choice was a direct confrontation as well. With the distance between them and Sun Xiang's swift and decisive response, Fang Rui didn't have any time to make any dirty escapes. To his left and right were walls, while One Autumn Leaf's spear was in front. Li Yibo felt very regretful. Seeing Sun Xiang's position, he had guessed Sun Xiang's plan: wait until the opponent found him. This position was extremely good. Because of the outside surroundings, Fang Rui wouldn't dare easily leap out. Inside the trench, if Fang Rui was close enough, he could force a direct fight and not give Fang Rui any chance to escape. However, with his dimming confidence, he was too afraid to say his guess. And now, it looked like Sun Xiang was doing exactly what he had thought. After determining that Boundless Sea was right next to him, he immediately began doing what he had always been good at. The trenches used for stealth had become Fang Rui's cage. The dirty style wasn't just in tactics but in techniques too. But no matter what, all of them required a certain amount of space to maneuver around. However, with the left and right blocked by walls and a one autumn leaf attacking fiercely from the front, he wasn't given any chance to jump out. His only choice was to retreat backwards. Right now, the master of playing dirty was helpless. Even the cleverest housewife cannot cook without rice. Sun Xiang had been waiting for this very moment. Afterwards was his usual strong offense. However, his prior patience had helped him win this situation. Sun Xiang's offense seemed even more effective and made the opponent look even more helpless. Sun Xiang's advantage wasn't just in technique, it was more tactical. The timing and terrain all stood on his side. His performance only looked more steady. Boundless Sea eventually fell. No one had expected that Fang Rui's dirty style wouldn't be able to be displayed in a map suited for it. Fang Rui had been suppressed as soon as he ran into his opponent. Unable to display his dirty tactics or his techniques, he was killed in the trenches. Yes, up until death, Fang Rui hadn't been able to get Boundless Sea out of the trenches. In the group arena, Sun Xiang won the first round with a 72% health lead. End chapter. The King's Avatar. Chapter 1296. Mo Fan vs. Sun Xiang. Audio source: wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 1296. Mo Fan vs. Sun Xiang. Translator: Nomyami. Editor: Nomyami. Finishing with 72% health left could be considered a massive advantage in the group arena. Because this sort of advantage could stack in the group arena was very different from individual matches, though it might seem that they were both 1v1s. In the individual competition, all you need to do was beat your opponent first, but in the group arena, you had to consider how to use the least amount of HP possible to defeat your opponent. Efficiency. The group arena valued the efficiency of your attacks far more. In the round that had just ended, Sun Xiang had doubtlessly managed to exhibit that excellently. Using positioning and patience, he had greatly diminished the space his opponent had to perform, winning very efficiently. A player who usually depended on hand speed, mechanics and technique to win his opponents had suddenly decided to switch tactics and lure and trap his opponent, even managing to trick the master of dirty play, Fang Rui. This is a very atypical victory for Sun Xiang. Li Yibo was now confidently expressing his own opinion on the previous match. Before, when he was given the chance to make an accurate prediction, he was too careful and missed it. Li Yibo, frustrated, was frantically trying to make up for it by showing off how much he knew about glory. For a moment, not even commentator Pan Lin had the chance to cut in and say anything. It was just good that there was a time limit to switch between players for the group arena. After Happy's Fang Rui returned to the bench, Happy's second player quickly headed off. How come this guy brought his brain with him today? Fang Rui complained, returning to the bench. This guy naturally referred to Sun Xiang. It was clear that in his eyes, Sun Xiang was the kind of player who didn't use his brains to fight. You were rather impatient, too. Ye Zhu replied. Yeah. Fang Rui lamented. I should have just stayed there and continued to stall, and see who snapped first. Yishu didn't know if he should laugh or cry. There's no way you didn't know about that ambush point. You should have been more careful. Didn't I say that I didn't know he brought his brain today? Fang Rui retorted. Okay, I admit, I underestimated him. Fang Rui sighed. Sun Xiang's choice of action was truly rather unexpected. Yishu gazed at the stage. Sun Xiang, once the overconfident captain of excellent era who thought himself more than good enough to replace Yishu, had truly matured after being relegated and then defeated in the Challenger League. Crafting such a plan, especially in the group arena, meant that he was starting to understand his position more, as well as what he should do on the field. He was no longer fighting for himself but the entire team. Mo Fan might not be able to do well against him either. Fang Rui said, watching Happy's second player, Mo Fan, as he entered the booth. That'll depend on how he plays. The current Mo Fan isn't the Mo Fan of the past with his monotonous style anymore. Yishu said. After half a year of actual battle experience, everyone had grown. Mo Fan wasn't that same scrap picker who would always lie in wait to ambush. He learned to judge the situation, and to use a wider variety of styles and techniques. Still, he had managed to preserve the habits and virtues he had gained from scrap picking in-game. He had patience, he was careful, good at finding and grasping opportunities. These were the characteristics that suited a class like Ninja, which focused on moving undetected. Originally, Deception was a widely known and hated character in the online game. Before, many guilds had noticed him and his talents. However, his loner personality caused him to ignore the olive branches being extended his way from all over. It wasn't until he was pulled into the pro circle by Yishu that his potential was realized, proving that the guilds hadn't misjudged him. It's just that Yishu managed to brute force this talent, who no one else had been able to recruit, into his camp. After Mo Fan went up, the second round soon began. In the beginning, Mo Fan didn't dart into the shadows and move carefully like usual, but instead had Deception run towards the center at full speed. Happy's Mo Fan is also one who's good at hiding and ambushing, but it seems like he's not planning on doing that this time. Pan Lin noted, seeing Deception's movements. In reality, with so many gullies in this map, one can use them at any time, so long as they aim well. In the last match, Fang Rui's playstyle was a little too dirty to work. Li Yiba commented, history was always on the side of the victors, so the losing Fang Rui immediately turned into a bad example. This time, it seems that Sun Xiang doesn't plan on using the same method as the last round, Pan Lin brought up. Sun Xiang's one autumn leaf had also quickly ran for the center after the match began, returning to his usual style. An ambush like that wouldn't work a second time, Li Yibo said. So this time he had one autumn leaf charge directly. This is the Sun Xiang we're all more familiar with. It seems like this match will be a direct clash between the two. Okay, their characters have now entered each other's field of vision. What will they do next? Huh? Pan Lin was just getting rather excited over all this when Deception, who had been charging forward head-on, suddenly rolled to the side and jumped into a gully after appearing in one autumn leaf's field of vision. It seems like Happy's Mo Fan still intends to use the terrain to cover his movements. However, he's already been seen, so Sun Xiang can probably make a relatively accurate judgment of his position, no? Huh? Quote, just as Pan Lin was saying this, Mo Fan's Deception then jumped out of the gully after moving around for a while. What is he doing? Advisor Li? Pan Lin couldn't understand and immediately went to ask Li Yibo. He's probably trying to confuse the other using his pace. Li Yibo answered rather weakly. He really wanted to append a "this is my personal opinion and might not be right" to the end of his words. Sun Xiang doesn't seem very affected. One autumn leaf is continuing forwards. Pan Lin exclaimed. Shuriken. In the end, the one to strike first was still Deception, who had a few mid-range skills. Clang. One autumn leaf didn't slow down, flicking his spear up and knocking the shuriken away in mid-air. Just from a technical perspective, Sun Xiang performed flawlessly. The shuriken didn't do anything to his opponent. Deception flicked his hands again. Whoosh, FWOSH, FWOOSH, FWOOSH. 4 shurikens flew out in rapid succession. This time, it was the improved version of Shuriken, Storm Shuriken. The shurikens sliced through the air, all 4 of them approaching rapidly. WushOurWorldAudio.com. This time, Sun Xiang could no longer block them all with pure mechanics alone. Dragon breaks the ranks. In the end, one autumn leaf 4 went blocking and directly used a dragon breaks the ranks to charge forward, ignoring the damage from the shuriken. Under the effects of dragon breaks the ranks, all Storm Shuriken did was deal damage. It didn't hinder one autumn leaf's advance at all. One autumn leaf arrived in front of Deception in the blink of an eye. Puff! The struck Deception exploded into smoke and his real body appeared behind one autumn leaf. Despite facing dragon breaks the ranks at such a close range, he could still dodge so precisely. Mo Fan's mechanics were impressive. Ninja Arts, Bird Fall. Deception, who had appeared in mid-air with a shadow clone technique, immediately stepped down with both feet at one autumn leaf's shoulders. Sun Xiang reacted extremely fast though. With the momentum of Dragon Breaks the Rank still in effect, one autumn leaf had already jumped up and turned, throwing himself back with his own momentum. His spear Evil Annihilation struck with deadly precision. Sky Strike. The lowest level skill used at the best timing. Deception's Bird Fall couldn't hit one autumn leaf's shoulders anymore. In mid-air, Mo Fan adjusted himself swiftly, and Deception's Bird Fall ended up stepping right on the tip of one autumn leaf's Evil Annihilation. Such precise mechanics. It was truly awe-inspiring. The venue immediately exploded into applause. Ninja Arts Bird Fall might be a level 45 skill, but it didn't have very high priority. Meanwhile, Sky Strike might be the lowest level skill, but its knock-up priority was very high. Bird Fall couldn't stop Sky Strike's upwards momentum, and Deception was still thrown into the air. It was just that since he had used skill to step on the spear, he didn't take any damage. He was thrown into the air, but he didn't tumble out of control like he would have if he had been hit directly by Sky Strike. Furious Dragon strikes the heart. Deception might not have been thrown too badly into the air, but Sun Xiang tried to rip that composure away. One autumn leaf's Evil Annihilation retracted and then struck lightning fast, a level 60 skill thrown out, in pursuit of the airborne Deception. Puff! Furious Dragon strikes the heart hit, but after a bang, the airborne Deception was replaced with a straw dummy with a puff of smoke. Ninja Arts, 100 streams. Deception, having already landed, rapidly formed seals and his Ninja 2 swung. Streams of water lunged towards one autumn leaf. Sun Xiang had not noticed the sneak attack from behind, but since Furious Dragon strikes the heart had hit a straw dummy, he knew that an attack was imminent. He didn't even bother turning to look, having one autumn leaf dodge to one side immediately. As he dodged, he turned his camera to see the 100 streams flowing across the ground. If he had been just a little late in reacting, he would be inside a water prison right now. Mo Fan is competing with Sun Xiang in mechanics. Pan Lin yelled in shock. As a newbie, this sort of courage was truly quite shocking. What was even more shocking was that after these exchanges, neither side had gotten the upper hand. It seemed like they were at a draw. His reactions are very fast, his mechanics precise. Li Yibo noted. He was obviously commenting on Mo Fan. As for Sun Xiang, there was no need to use these general praises to comment on his performance anymore. But after these evenly matched exchanges, Deception rolled to the side and jumped into a ditch. He had turned and hid after seeing that his attacks weren't working. Sun Xiang's one autumn leaf rushed over, evil annihilation held in front of him and ready to strike. However, Deception had disappeared. A short, small ditch just like the place Sun Xiang had hid last time. It had turned left and right. Where did Deception go? Sun Xiang was trying to make a decision when, under one autumn leaf's feet, the ground suddenly loosened. Underground tunneling technique. Nomyami. The chapter didn't have a title originally, but the title field can't be left blank, so I just put up a title as a placeholder. End chapter.